something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Previewed.
It's Previewed's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, Peaches, welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay, and you're our listener.
Hey there, listeners.
Ho there, listeners.
Surprise, listeners.
Yes.
Surprise.
That's right. We spent a whole episode talking about how we were going to be done for a little bit.
Yeah, bye. Have a good summer, everybody.
And yet, we persist.
Well, the reason we're here, I blame them, Jay. I blame everyone watching this right now. Because in the last episode of the Acolyte, there were more comments than I didn't think anyone would ever write that, and there were so many comments saying, "I can't wait to see the Fix It episode about this one." So
peer pressure.
Yes,
that's right.
You guys put this out into the world, and so we have no choice.
Yeah, it doesn't work for bringing Rebels back in a timely fashion, but it sure works for making us do another podcast.
Oh, this episode's out, I think, for the first Rebel. No, I think the first Rebels episode's also dropping today, I think.
Yeah. No, it came out yesterday because it's coming out Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got Rebels back. Come on,
Yeah,
Rebels wobble and don't fall down. What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, it just took a while. We had Fallout
Fallout
came out.
Fallout
The
came
boys,
out.
a lot of stuff came out.
Things
Anywho's.
came out.
Hi, I'm Jay. That's Adam. You may know us from the wildly successful YouTube reaction channel Previewed, or you may know us as those guys who won't stop leaf blowing outside of your house. We got to get it clean.
Jay, I can't stand one leaf being on the ground.
Yeah, man,
I gotta blow it out of there.
We're considering getting into other types of content, and we want to be those guys who, cut people's lawns for free and make videos out of it.
The heat and the hum of that motor on
they
your
do
back.
really
just
well,
did
man.
not-
I get locked into some of those, especially on TikTok and Shorts. I get locked in. I'm like, oh wow. That lawn's gonna look so clean. That's coming. That's actually what Fix It's gonna turn into after our summer hiatus.
Oh,
Yeah, lawn care.
yeah, we're gonna fix your lawn. Yeah.
This is our podcast, Fix It, where every week Ab and I take a piece of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe just had lightsabers, and that's about it. And we fix it. And today we're going to be fixing 2024's Star Wars television spectacular, The Acolyte.
Just finished less than a week ago.
Just finished less than a week ago, and I've already forgotten about it. And I think a lot of you guys have too, but we're here to remind you about it
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps maybe fix it. It's going to be a little bit different of an episode today.
Yeah,
It's not
this
quite
one's
a
gonna-
fix
mhm.
proper. We're going to maybe be deconstructing the Acolyte in an official capacity. I don't know. Official is, of course, a loose term. But before we get into fixing the Acolyte, we have come to our first segment of the show, everyone's absolutely most favorite segment. We took a poll. It's Roll for Convo. We have 20 topics of conversation provided to us by our producer, Brian, the best producer in the biz, also maybe up to no good.
Maybe somebody's Acolyte, Jay. We don't know.
Yeah, we have no clue.
We don't know.
But we're just feeling the vibe. But we're watching you, Brian. But thanks for being our producer and doing a great job. But I'm going to roll a 20-sided die, and we're going to pick from that list of 20 of what our first topic of conversation is in Roll for Convo. And I'm rolling, and that is a 5.
5. Okay. Well, this one's mostly about for Jay.
Oh,
What's your connection to the Goosebumps books?
the Goosebumps
Were
books.
there any other children's horror books that you latched onto? Anything goes in Goosebumps talk.
Goosebumps are books that I bought and read mostly. I mean, and I guess this is the theme of the episode. It was mostly peer pressure.
Really?
They're not book. I have an affection for the brand and how they represent themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I necessarily have any kind of affection for the actual books themselves because they were scary. They were scary. But like, so I like, it's more that like in regards to Goosebumps books, I remember the titles and I remember the covers.
Yep.
And I remember being like, oh, isn't that fun? What a fun thing for that. It's a fun thing for kids, you know?
Sure.
It's like those Goosebumps books hit the Scholastic Book Fair like a bomb. You know what I mean? They had their marketing on point. Are you too old for Scholastic Book Fair?
No.
I think I was in like the heyday of Scholastic
probably in the heyday
Book
of it,
Fair.
though, yeah.
Ooda lolly, was that a great day at the Scholastic Book Fair. Oh man. And like, it's like my favorite my favorite TikToks nowadays are like people our age who have kids who are like in elementary school, and they're like, hey, like I was that kid that like his parents like couldn't afford the book fair, but now I'm the parent and I can afford the book fair, and we're rolling deep in that book fair, and I love it. I just think that's such a celebration.
Aw.
It's such a
Reading's
wonderful
important,
thing.
man.
Yeah, man, reading is important, but yeah, the scary books didn't do it for me. And then you always would have that friend that was reading the like scary stories to what's that?
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Well, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think is in that same. But there was also that book that like scary stories to like.
Oh, scary stories to tell you something or other. I thought that's what
They made a movie out of it too.
Yeah,
like a show.
those are the books that I read.
Yeah, those were. Those okay. Those scary stories were moderately scary from a literative perspective, but that artwork, that
It was the
artwork,
yeah.
that
It was
artwork
the
put
artwork.
you in a frame of mind that it was like, yo, get ready. You're about to get so scared that you're gonna like lose your
Let me
mind.
see if I can get the title of things. Scary stories. Yeah. It was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Scary stories
Was the
to
short
tell in
was
the
the
dark.
short story series.
Do you remember like I couldn't bring myself to read those because I got too spooked.
Yeah, man. I did read the two of them, but the art is what first comes back to me.
Yeah, because they were all in black and white with maybe a little spot
There
of
was
red here
There
and
was
there.
a couple of colors on some. Yeah. They were really like the illustrations were so creepy, but that's like the story about the old story about the couple that car is broken down in the woods after they were making out, and somebody the boyfriend goes out to try to get help, and all of a sudden she just starts hearing the scraping. He doesn't know what it is until morning. The first time I saw or read that was in that book, and that was like, no,
No, good. I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I don't like this.
I never need to go outside ever again.
Nope.
No, I'm good.
Everything's
Yeah.
good inside.
Yeah, Adam's good in here. Yeah.
Oh,
no
thank
thanks. No thanks. Do you find like, and now that we're adults, I feel like reading horror is like even more commonplace now, like with Stephen King and whatnot.
you. Did you ever read a Stephen King book?
Couldn't bring myself to.
I read one.
What did you read?
Salem's Lot, the vampire one.
Oh, I don't know that one. I have no frame of reference for that one.
It was they did a short not story. What miniseries.
I never knew.
a TV miniseries. They did it twice.
I knew
Once
the
in
title, but I didn't know it was vampires.
Once in the 80s, once in the teens, I think.
What's the twist on the vampire situation?
There isn't one. It's just vampires.
Oh,
Yeah, vampires just slowly start taking over this town, and it's
that's good for vampires, though. Look, if you're gonna do it, you gotta get the infrastructure going. If you're gonna take over a town, that's great. But like, you gotta make sure that like
yeah, it just slowly. There's a group of like 4 or 5 people that are understand what's going on and then try to stop it, and then one of the main cast gets trapped in the house, failing to take out the main vampire because it's Dresden rules.
Oh,
You take out have someone higher on the hierarchy. It works down. And she failed to take him out, and she got turned, and then like the whole town starts to unravel after that, and it's just our good guys trying to survive as long as possible to try to figure out how to get a shot at the head guy. But the book is basically just watching this town slow, like most Stephen King books. It's just watching the small town slowly be taken over by the supernatural force, and the only a few people left to actually handle it by the end.
you'd be a good vampire, I think.
That'd be great.
You'd be good at it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you'd be pretty ethical. But like
Locally sourced. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be fun. What's the scariest book you've ever read?
I didn't read. I mean, I read a lot of Scholastic stuff when I was a kid, like sports books,
Oh,
and then stopped reading. For a while.
horrifying! Oh man, this whole book's about the Chargers, and they've been terrible forever.
It was like kids sports books of like for example, one of my favorite ones as a kid, it was Hot Corner.
Hot Corner.
It was a guy who played third base. It was a little kid who played third base. With a lot of, sports, books like that.
And it was
kids.
horrifying. It shook you to your very core.
No, those are the books I read.
No, you answer my question. No, the scariest I've ever read was Jurassic Park. Shook me to my absolute core. But I was in like 4th grade. I shouldn't have been reading that book.
I read Jurassic Park. I think it was in high school. That was a little spooky. But what really was honestly what the scariest book I ever read was Feast for Crows.
Oh.
Because the Red Wedding, I think, is in the 3rd book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. I'm done.
Yeah.
I just nope, done. At that point, I did not know literature could do that.
Oh, interesting.
Because like it was just so well written, and it was just like he told us the entire time what was happening, and no one put it together. No one in the scene or reading the scene, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, and then everyone get Crimson Sky, and you're like, oh nope. Rob should have won. Nope, screw this. Everything would have been nope.
Everything would have been a lot better if Rob was able to win.
Yep.
Like Rob was a good dude.
He was a solid dude.
Yeah. For me, it was the pterodactyls in Jurassic Park. Terrifying.
Yep.
Still spooked me to my very core.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have thought that before that it was like, oh, I like pterodactyls. They're one of my favorite dinosaurs. Nope, absolutely not even once. Not even once. Get out of here. But like, did you? What was your like Scholastic book fair like go to? For me, Calvin and Hobbes. Come on now.
Oh, I read all of those when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. My love for Calvin and Hobbes is like deep and ingrained into like the essence of my being. Like I loved Calvin and Hobbes.
Mm-hmm.
And it like I respect the hell out of the creator of that product, that he didn't want to pimp it out for
Mm-hmm.
merchandising and whatnot. And I understand his reasonings, and I appreciate him standing there. I will say, I think media literacy and like the creation of media now, I think there could be created a Calvin and Hobbes something that would maintain the integrity of the product now. Because, like, if it was in the height of the 90s, the 90s would have 90s-defied Calvin and Hobbes. But I think now if it was, like, a limited, like, animated feature on, like, Max or something, or Amazon,
sure,
I think they could maintain the integrity of that product. So it makes me sad now, because I was like, I think we've earned Calvin and Hobbes now, but it'll never happen.
No. But yeah, I think we are living in an environment now where he would be able to maintain enough rights over the final product that we could actually get a nice animated version, or just some type of updated version of Calvin. Because like Calvin being a wisecracking kid that actually sees the world the way it is.
I don't think any source of media. I don't think anyone across the board. I don't think anyone went out stronger than Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah,
like nobody picked I'm done better. It was like, yep, everything I've touched has turned to gold. I'm not going to stick around at all long enough to see it start turning to shit.
Yep.
No thanks.
Out of here.
I've done what I needed to do. I've
impacted a generation.
I'm just going to chill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to chill. Yeah, it really did impact a generation. But yeah, if you got the Calvin Hobbes book from Scholastic Book Fair, you were rolling. Mm-hmm. Like you were the coolest. And I tried to be the coolest, but didn't really work out, but I still got the book. You know what I'm saying?
Far Side, man.
Ugh. Yes.
Calvin and Hobbes on a bookshelf and Far Side books.
It's a lost art form. I don't think like the Funny Papers is really as impactful as it, you know what I mean? Like we lived in the heyday of that. Mm-hmm. The amount of like books, like compendiums I had of newspaper funny pages of like I had Calvin Hobbes book, I had Foxtrot books, like those hit.
Yeah, man.
It was the good stuff.
It was.
Anyways, I forgot what we were talking about. Goosebumps? Yeah, they're
Goosebumps.
fine. Sure. I think they can leave I think they've done the movies and the shows that they need to do, and they can leave it well enough alone. I think it's good. I think we can sunset Goosebumps.
Sure.
You know? I don't know. Because he's not writing more. He's not making more of them.
He's not making more of
Yeah,
them.
just revitalize the books. Don't keep giving us shows. Anyways, that's been Roll for Convo. You've heard it here first. I'm not even sure what we talked about. We should move on to the Acolyte, shouldn't we?
We should.
But before we
Jay.
do, we should probably hear all about Acolyte from our wonderful producer, Brian, when he rolls that beautiful bean fun fact footage.
Thank you, gentlemen. Producer Brian here, and today we're trying to fix Season 1 of the Disney Plus Star Wars show, The Acolyte. Released in 2024 with 8 episodes, it was showrun by Leslie Headland and stars Amanda Stenberg, Lee Chung-jae, Charlie Barnett, Daphne Keane, Manny Jacinto, Carrie Ann Moss, and many others. Here are some fun Bean facts. This show had 4.8 million views in its first day of release and 11.1 million over the first 5 days. The writer's room was made up of different generations of Star Wars fans in terms of what they grew up with and what they have nostalgia for. Most of the actors did their own action scenes and stunts, as mostly practical locations and sets were used. If you care, this has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen, and please enjoy writing your fix. May the Force be with you.
Thanks, Brian.
Good job compiling all that information from like a last week, Brian.
Wonderful job, Brian.
Good stuff.
Top of mind, top of your game. Where are the bodies?
Where are those bodies?
Yeah.
Where are you hiding all those dead Jedi, Brian?
Don't you
Brian?
put that on me. Don't you put that evil on me.
I don't know. The evil switches from person to person in the show, Jay. Who knows?
Apparently it does.
Who knows?
Apparently it does. I mean, what even is evil, Lashy? But before we get into the Acolyte, we should probably... I mean, if you're watching this, you probably saw Acolyte, but it's the format of the show, so
Yep.
we got to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, why don't you let everybody know what happened in The Acolyte, for those who haven't seen it. In everyone's favorite segment, we took a poll.
We did.
Pull-Lot Drop.
Okay, I'm going to keep this decently brief and also chronologically correct.
Decently brief and chronologically correct. That's when Adam does plot drop.
16 years ago, there's 4 Jedi on the planet of Brendok.
16 years ago, one Brandock.
You got to keep that up. It's not going to be so short, bud.
No, I regret continuing it because I was like, I set an expectation. Now I have to. Oh boy.
So 4 Jedi are searching for a vergence in the Force, which a vergence is just something crazy that the Force has somehow manifested. I
Sure.
believe that's mostly
It's
correct.
almost as if they didn't explain it enough.
They didn't explain it in the show.
Nope.
Which they should have explained in the show. They
Uh-huh.
just said it's a vergence, it's important, and not what it was. Anyways, they're exploring, trying to figure out what it is. They're handling moss and rocks and doing a metal detector thing. It's all very weird and dumb. And then they come, and one of the Jedi, Soul, comes across 2 young girls who there's no one should be on this planet. It was told it was barren, and all of a sudden the life was on it, and like no one was supposed to be living here. And all of a sudden they find people living here. But there's 2 young girls. He's like, oh, those girls might be in danger. So I go and infiltrate these. Basically, they didn't say it was Night Sisters. It's kind of Night Sisters adjacent group
Sure.
of women who use the Force in a different way. They call it
Force witches in some regard.
They call it the thread. They somehow made the girls through the Force, and it turns out they didn't make they took the Force or the power of the Vergence on this planet, wasn't necessarily clear, and took one person, some small fetus or whatever, and turned it into 2 of them. And they're not 2 different, they're not clones, they're not twins. It's the same person in 2 bodies.
Sure.
That's
Not explained.
That's not explained
Sufficiently enough at all.
It's not. They don't they don't explain how that works. What makes them different? It's just 2 people seemingly are the same person or one person.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all the explanation they give us, which is insufficient for what happens in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The Jedi show up and just like, hey, are these girls safe? And they're like, yes. And then one of them's like, ooh, I want to be a Jedi. And it's like, I mean, you can be. And then like half of the witches are like, most of the witches are like, no. But the mom is just like, well, I mean, you can test them. Okay. And then one girl's like, I don't want to go. The other girl's like, I do want to go. And then the one girl who wants to go passes the test. The girl who doesn't want to go purposely fails the test. And then the Jedi Council is like, you can't take them. And then it turns out they realize through science that they are the virgins that they were looking for.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we should go because they're the virgins, and that's kind of a big effing deal. So they go back to the coven of mostly night witches-esque, and through no one using their words and talking this whole thing out, violence could have been avoided. Everyone starts choosing violence, and everyone ends up dead. The girl who didn't want to go is dead, and Osha, the girl who wanted to go, is still alive, and the Jedi take her to go get trained. That's the past. And now in the present, May did survive. The other twin did survive. Somehow meets up with old Padawan of Venestra, the green lady here on the TV screen. He has got thrown. We don't know his backstory, but he was a Padawan, didn't make it through training, and has a hate boner right now, I guess, for the Jedi or whatever.
Sure. Finds
May, trains her, and says the only way you could become more Sithy or whatever.
Well, the Acolyte's a dream killer, Lashy.
All right, the dream killer. I totally forgot about the whole speech in the first episode.
Yeah.
You got to kill Jedi without a weapon. So she's like, I know Jedi I can kill. The people who were on my planet and caused all my moms and stuff to die. So she goes about killing everybody, and then people start confusing that May is actually Osha. The Jedi think it's Osha because she used to work for the Order, and now she's out and about doing her own thing.
Putting out fires in space.
And then they just try to stop May from killing any more Jedi. A couple more Jedi die. And then it turns out
they swap places.
They swap places. Kamir shows up in his helmet. He starts killing Jedi. Everyone talks to each other a bunch. The girls swap places and also swap personalities and do not exactly understand why. Kamir takes Osha, and Sol takes May and tells her what happened, and then May turns good, and then Osha, I guess, learns some of what happened in the past, and Kamir just kind of
realizes that Sol, who was supposed to be her master, ended up was the one who actually killed her mother, and she freaks out and turns bad.
Yep. And
sorry, I don't know why I hopped in there, but
it's fine. You're just turns bad, kills Sol.
I can see you getting frustrated as you're explaining this story.
I am. I just realized it.
Kills Sol.
Kills Sol.
The Jedi Council, basically throws Sol under the bus.
No, Venestra throws him under the bus.
Well, yeah, but
because she's hiding something. We don't know why or what.
We don't know.
And then Kamir and Osha are now in love. She's known him for maybe 48 hours.
I think it's like a long weekend situation. A lot can happen in a long weekend from a love perspective.
I don't know, man.
It's not clear.
May gets her mind wiped, so she's only the last memory she had is when she was 8. So all the main characters are basically dead except Venestra, who's still hiding stuff. And Plagueis showed up at the very end because he's creeping in a cave.
It was not clear that that's who that was either.
And then Yoda's pop. We see Yoda's ears.
Yep. The Acolyte.
The Acolyte.
You watched it.
You know what's going on.
Yeah. You're not here if you didn't watch it.
Yeah, you weren't here for the summarization.
Yeah, but we have to do it. It's the law. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's written down in the Constitution.
God, the Philistarian Constitution is ironclad.
It really is. There's penalties for us, and we're the ones that wrote it.
I know. And I understand that the separation of powers, but at a certain point, guys, we're here to, you start a cult to get rich. You know what I'm saying? What? Anyways, so the Acolyte.
It's been a very weird couple of months with this show, because when we were watching it, we watched all 8 episodes, and we were kind of giving it a chance through most of it. Like we were holding judgment throughout most of it.
Yes,
and then
we specifically came in because we're not thrilled about the trailers when the trailers dropped.
No, I got a weird feeling in the force through them.
We had a very specific mindset, and we even had a conversation when we were starting this show, like between the two of us as we're getting set up, was like, hey, we need to make sure that we keep our minds open for this, because this is going to probably be a different kind of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. It's the same conversation we had with between each other when we started doing Endor.
Right.
Andor. Andor is a whole different thing. That's the Ewoks, and we love them. Look, they can do no wrong. Can we get a third movie, please? I want it. And if they did another,
a sequel to the one
from
the 80s?
Ewok adventure.
Oh my god!
I'd show up for that in a heartbeat. I would. It'd probably not be very good, but why not?
Sure.
anyways, we made sure specifically we were like, hey, we need to keep our minds open. Like, we have a lot of baggage when it comes to Star Wars, as most Star Wars fans do. So, like, we have to make sure we keep our expectations in check and allow ourselves. We have to be open to enjoying this. We may or may not, but we have to be at least open to the concept of enjoying it.
Yes. And it wasn't until episode 5 with the big fight scene, the big fight episode, which was
Yes.
really, the fights were amazing. But it was that episode is like, wait, why are these characters changing sides or swapping emotions so quickly?
There were some character moves and some character choices that didn't track.
Right. And that was like the first crack in the, wait a second, what?
The fights were awesome.
The fights were amazing.
We also killed some Jedi that was like, what? You didn't give us enough with them. We started to like them.
Yeah.
And then you murdered them. And it felt like a, huh? And I'm like, no, I'm mad because if you were going to kill them, I would have liked to know them a little bit more. I don't care that you killed them because we barely know them.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And then episode 6, when she's talking to Kamir on a weird planet, and he's not even selling the dark side. He's just kind of like talking to her, and she's like, I'm somehow enjoying it. It's like, you just met him. He just murdered people. He's not even pitching anything. It's just like, hey, you should be cool. Like, she's already, wait, what? And then the flashback to find out what actually happened in the final episode of the kind of how things tied up at the end, which they really didn't. It's just like this. It was just at the end of the day, it was just very much the
Yeah.
Because it was at the end when the show was completely over, and I was like, hey, Plagueis is in the cave. Ooh, sequel bait, huh? Sequel bait. Ooh, Yoda, sequel bait, right? I was like, all right, listen. I watched a lot of videos and seeing how other people took this stuff because I know how we were feeling about stuff. I was very interested in see how other people were taking this.
Yes.
And there's a lot of very emotional responses to the show.
Yes.
And I totally understand where everyone is coming from.
And a lot of comments on our reactions.
Oh yes, for very pro and anti this show.
Yes.
And for the people who did not who really had a negative emotional reaction to this show, I didn't. It's not my reaction is more just frustration and kind of like, all right, that could have been better. I didn't really have a lot of emotions tied up in it because I am not emotionally connected to the prequels.
Sure.
I'm emotionally connected to the OG trilogy.
Yes.
Which is why I have a negative emotional reaction to the sequels.
Sure.
But so from that perspective, like, oh, people who are emotionally connected to the prequels feeling like this property is kind of like crapping on the thing that they really like and enjoy or love. I see what's going on. I understand why you guys are reacting emotionally to this. That makes sense. I feel you, and you are seen. But for us, I don't know if you don't mind me speaking for you a little bit here, the way we're coming at this show and the way we're frustrated is not because of the lore, and there's a lot of things you could discuss about the lore. There's so many different channels that have. I think the main frustration for us about the show is it just failed in a meta perspective from how to tell a story,
yes,
and how to construct characters.
Yes. There has been a lot of... We're not necessarily going to be directly fixing this show today. We might come back and do like an actual pass at it at a later date. I'm not sure about that. There was a lot of backlash to this show in a lot of different directions, and it got really heated and honestly quite toxic kind of immediately. Mm-hmm. And my biggest frustration with that is obviously just you don't gotta be a jerk online. You don't need to. Like, it's at the end of the day, it's Star Wars. Like, it's not, I understand it's important to people, but it's not worth being mean or cruel about it. That being said, my biggest frustration with all of that backlash was I was like, everyone is arguing all these different points. I was like, everyone is just mad about one thing, but they are taking it in a totally different direction. But the anchor point of why this show didn't work is that it's boring. And you have a bunch of characters that you don't care about. And that's because the story is structured in such a way that you never really get to spend any time with these characters in any meaningful way. Mm-hmm. That you have a Star Wars show where you are not sure who you are rooting for. And I think there are people out there that would leave the comment, well, that was kind of the intention. What just happened?
I accidentally opened the wrong thing. Oh no!
How dare you?
I know, how dare.
How dare you?
I'm so bad.
Here
we go.
There we go. There we go. You had a show. I was like, there were times where we would be setting up our shoot schedule for the week, and we would forget about Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not because we were mad at it. It was just because it just was not leaving any sort of impression on us in any meaningful way. And it's frustrating because I think you have a stable of characters that I could care about and I could get there if you just gave me any aspect of their motivation or anything interesting about these characters outside of the fact that they may have the Force.
Yeah, and that's the thing we really wanted to talk about in this episode of Fix It. We wanted to fix what's wrong with these characters from a character creation standpoint.
Yes.
I brought up a character motivation little picture. It was
Yeah, they saw it. It was real tiny on the screen.
It was really tiny
though,
on
but
the
you
screen.
brought it up over there. Good for you.
Now I blew it up on the screen that I have here. So basically, character motivations are, what drives a character to do a thing.
Yeah.
For example, in this show, Soul really wanted a Padawan.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We understand that. The question is why?
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know.
It was never told.
Like Soul is meant to be like the living embodiment of like the Jedi Order right now.
Mhm.
He was supposed to be like the representation of that. But we don't really know much about Soul as a Jedi.
No, we don't.
We don't know about like how he goes about doing what he does or why he became a Jedi in the first place.
He seems like a pretty good-natured dude.
It's a very earnest performance
Yeah.
of Soul.
Mhm.
He may be my favorite character of the show just because I bought the performance.
Mhm.
But it took a lot of heavy lifting on the actor's part in order for me to get there.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot of good performances on this show, but they just don't really have anything to work
And to
with.
take a quick step back, realizing I missed something in my notes. The reason why character motivation is so important is because characters, in good stories, characters drive the story.
Yes.
Characters making decisions in the situations that they're in drive the story forward.
Yeah.
In poorly written stories, the story drives the characters.
It happens to them.
It's like, oh, well, we need the X to happen so the characters can be in this situation for the next scene. So they're going to say or do whatever I need them to in order to set up the next scene or the next fight scene or whatever. I just need them to be there, so it just happens that someone makes a decision so that they're there.
Sure.
Instead of someone making an active choice in an interesting situation, is like, oh, and that has ramifications. So it's important to understand characters' motivations.
Yeah.
So we can understand how they move through the story.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that could drive a character, like friendship, love, peer pressure, survival, respect, greed, ambition, fear, pride, jealousy, revenge, anger, avoiding conflict, acceptance, money. Like, there's lots of things that can motivate your character to do stuff. In this show, we don't know what's motivating anyone.
Nobody.
We know a couple of their wants,
Yes.
but we don't know why they want things, and that ruins the whole story because we don't understand why anyone's doing anything, and we also can't guess or be surprised when somebody does something. Either oh, that makes sense, they would do that because we know they want a thing, of course they would act that way, or oh, they did something we weren't expecting because we were expecting something because we know their motivations. Oh, they also want something else. Oh, that makes sense from that angle. I didn't even think of that. Oh my god, that's insane. I should have thought of that. What a great story. So since we don't know anyone's motivations, we need to figure out how we were going to fix this. Is like we need to fix these characters' creation and fix their motivations on stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, we talked about Soul. Kamir actually shows up in episode 5 as like his full dark sidey self.
And it's a cool character.
It is
from a design perspective.
From a design perspective, his saber is really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say the actor's name because I only partially know it and I feel like I'd butcher it. But he did a fantastic job.
Yes.
And when Soul asks him...
Headbutting lightsabers off with your helmet?
Cortosis?
Pretty dope.
Bringing that in, that's awesome. But when Soul asks him, what do you want? He's like, I just want to be able to live my life. Okay, great. That's okay. Okay, I see that.
Then why did you make all these other decisions to kill Jedi and things like that in order to?
Yes.
Why is that?
Yes. Exactly.
It is all of your actions are in confluence or incongruous with
Your goal.
what your character
stated
has
goal
been.
is.
Yeah, what their stated goal is like completely different than, like I would argue, like that's a lot of characters on this show, and some of the even the performances, even the non-speaking aspects of this show sometimes when it's like. Yeah, I mean, I know character motivation is like your biggest issue. For me, it's that the general gist of the circumstances and the world we're in are also the motivations are not explained.
Not even close. That was going to be my second point.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to get ahead of you.
But you're right. That's also like the larger story is Venestra being coy with a senator who clearly saw the prequels and know a Jedi is about to go bad at some point.
Yeah,
And it's like, but we don't know
what the Jedi Council is up to.
We don't know.
We get a lot of secretive conversations, and we get a lot of like nitty-gritty background stuff that doesn't allude to anything. But also, what is going on Brendok? What's going on? What is a Vergence?
Yeah.
Why is that important? What's like you can raise the stakes on your property pretty much immediately by letting me as the audience know that this is an unknown aspect of the Force and also maybe dangerous. It's just kind of like, yeah, I understand why they wanted Sol to go away. He was just like kind of creeping around their compound, just staring at these kids, and he's like, they might be in danger, and it's like, dude, I don't know, man.
Or they could also not be. Yeah.
It's a coin flip at this point.
There's a lot of characters aren't motivated by doing anything. We don't know their backstory. We don't know anything about them. And then the story in and of itself is just like, what is the story you're trying to tell here? Why are you trying to tell a story that the Jedi are not as good as we all think they should be because they're the heroes of the Republic for 1,000 generations? Why aren't they that? Why are you trying to tell us that they're not good?
Yeah.
And then why are you telling the story with the Night Sisters? Because it's if you're trying to tell us and give us an origin tale of how Plagueis learned about creating a life through the Force and failed, and then Palpatine, if that's what actually happened, or I guess maybe some people it does. In some book, I think it said that's what happened. But Palpatine does make that happen. Okay, you know what? That's fine. Sure. Okay. But I don't understand why you have to drag the Jedi down with that.
Yeah.
Because they're not bad guys in Episode 1.
No, they're just bureaucrats.
They're just doing their jobs. They're just trying to be good guys.
They're cops. They're space cops.
Yeah, doing the best they can.
Uh-huh.
So it's just it's the why of all these things doesn't make a ton of sense. And the contrived situation between the Night Sisters and the Jedi could have been resolved if people talked.
Yeah. I'm fine
Hello,
with misinformation leading to a tragedy, but when you spend like 4 or 5 episodes like basically teasing out a circumstance that like they're all trying to hide, and then they explain it to everyone. Well, first they like say they're going to explain it and then cut to credits and make us wait a week. Rude. And for an episode that didn't fully have an ending,
right?
Rude. Not only to that, like the twist ends up being like, oh, that's exactly kind of how I thought it would probably went. Okay.
Because a situation like that would make more sense if we knew everyone's motivations going into it, of how, if Sol saw a child in danger previously and wasn't able to save them.
Yes.
And then sees May
and he makes an irrational
in front of him.
Following those kids felt irrational to me because we did not understand.
We didn't understand
what he was up to.
We didn't know. We didn't know why.
Yeah.
So and also at the same time, if the Night Sisters, assuming again Night Sister adjacent, if we knew why they were so anti-Jedi and saw them be persecuted or whatever.
Yes.
Just oh, there's a reason why they don't trust them, or they would think that they're after the specifically they're trying to steal our kids, and even though they said no, we can test them, but with your authority, with your you can let us do this. So again, situations where talking could have gotten rid of all the violence and all the deaths.
Yeah.
it would make more sense if like, oh, everyone's acting as their normal character would do with a miscommunication. This makes more sense than just everyone, big T,
Yeah.
time out, everybody. We don't have to go down this route. Everything's fine. We just wanted to see what this thing was. That's all.
Yeah.
Popped up on our sensors. It's kind of a big deal. Just want to see what it is. We'll leave you in peace. There's no one has to get hurt. No one's minds have to be invaded. It's all good, everybody. But because the show has to happen and the plot needs to move forward, no one's allowed to talk to anybody. And people have to make rash decisions that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think what the best thing we could do when it comes to the characters is I think let us take a look at each of the main characters. And by the main characters, I mean basically Sol, Kamir, May, and Osha.
Yeah.
And maybe it's Vanestra if we really wanted to. And,
Also,
and give them some motivations.
Yeah.
And how just to inform their character a little bit.
Yeah.
Of not why they would do the things they did in the show, but just trying to make these characters more interesting, that a story could unfold around them. That's maybe.
And also, we can tell this story linearly.
Yes.
Like we don't have to. Like if we need to have flashbacks to the main OSHA stuff, that's fine, but make it one isolated thing where we get all the information and we can move on from there. But also, okay, so if we're fixing motivations for these characters, I really liked where you were at with Sol and giving him. Why does maybe giving Sol a previous Padawan situation?
Ooh.
That doesn't work out. Like I think we can even get this through dialogue with the other Jedi he's with. That's just like he's trying to move up in the Jedi Order, and having a successful Padawan is like kind of a point of like, it's good on your resume in order to like move your way up through the Jedi Order. What?
Oh, I just had an idea.
Hit me. Don't hide it in
one
a
of the
bushel
while
basket.
you were speaking. I didn't want to jump in.
That's not what I do.
I know. He's close with Vanestra because Vanestra also lost a Padawan,
Okay.
and so they have a thing in common. Like we can, and maybe because this is the present. Are we in the present?
Maybe their Padawans like got into a fight and it was like a whole thing and it was very embarrassing. And like Vanestra had a like we figured out that Vanestra like hushed it up.
Sure.
And then I mean once it's revealed that she knows why can't I think of his name? Kamir. She knows him. Like he killed Sol's Padawan. So when he finds out.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing where he's like, he sees Vanestra moving up because she was really good at hiding it under the rug. And so he's like, I need a Padawan in order to move my way up through the Jedi Order. But we slowly see him kind of descending into like, is this an organization I want to move up? Because every time I talk to Vanestra about this stuff, she's trying to like hush me up about this.
Ooh, okay.
So we see a guy who's like kind of maybe questioning his Jedi-dom, but also still trying to maybe that's a little too murky.
Well, let's keep it simple. This is Star Wars. It's not supposed to be too complicated.
No.
So like let's just say that they both lost Padawans in the past.
Okay.
Sol actually lost his Padawan through maybe an accident or something that maybe they weren't ready for, like, and it was like a tragic thing.
Yeah.
And Vanestra's was also tragic, but like it was like also some failings on the Padawan himself. And so there's a little bit of a connection there, just like.
And that's what maybe that's what drives the wedge between him and Osha, because she gets kicked out of Jedi Training Academy because she can't let what happened go. But she finally realizes that like Sol also hasn't let go. Like he was putting too much pressure on her, and like that's what ended up leading to her to break from the Jedi Order. But when we find out, like when Vanestra realizes that Kamir is the one doing this stuff, and he realizes it's Kamir, that's when he freaks out, because Kamir is the one that killed his Padawan, and he was the Jedi that left.
Sure.
Because like their struggle, we find out more about Kamir because like because Sol had the perfect Padawan and they didn't get along. something to that effect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
just motivations here.
Yeah.
So wants to redeem himself, and truly he can train somebody.
Yeah.
And Vanessa's just like, I know my Padawan went evil, and I got rid of him, not knowing that he survived.
Just to keep the gumbo mix, to mix up the gumbo a little bit. Let's move from a character to how do we motivate our Jedi Council? Like what is happening with the Jedi Council that we can explain a little bit better? That's not just like, you guys are bad, we're going to inspect you.
That's easy. We just kind of actually glean from the High Republic comics and books and stuff like that, and be like, oh, I believe from what we learned also. Like, I didn't read the books or the comics, but like from the Jedi Survivor game, who Cal is dealing with some of the ramifications of the High Republic era.
Yeah,
that they were dealing with raiders and stuff in the Outer Rim or something to that effect or whatever. Just take whatever was going on in the books and comics and be like, hey, so the Republic really hasn't had beef with anybody in a couple hundred years, and now the Jedi are fighting these raiders out in the Outer Rim and stuff like that. And
maybe you guys are overstepping your bounds a little bit. You're turning into judge, jury, and executioner kind of situation.
Just something that the Senate needs. Wants a little bit more oversight on what the Jedi are doing to combat these raiders from the Outer Rim or something.
But why are they trying? What are they trying to hide then? They don't want this inspection.
I don't think they're trying to hide anything. I think it's Vanestra. I think Vanestra's thing is she can just be like her vice or whatever, because she could be a little too political.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, again, it's not necessarily like evil. She's just more of a political creature.
And she is of the mindset that, the Jedi know better.
Yeah. We're here to defend everybody, and maybe she's taking defending.
You need
Republic.
you need me on that wall.
You need me on that wall.
I get that. I like that.
It's not evil. She's just maybe she's doing good just a little too hard.
Yeah. And there's no backup for this situation because she's really trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or she's just trying to hide Khmer.
Yes.
That's the only thing she's trying to hide.
Yes.
Because I think once we get to the background with May and Osha, I think we just do this whole thing. There's no misconstruing. It's just like we learned that the Night Sisters they have an actual plan for May and Osha or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Jedi don't bust in. They announce themselves. They say hi. Like, we're just trying to,
Yeah.
And we could see the Night Sisters being like, make a decision to be like, no, even though Osha decides like she does want to go.
Sure.
I think what we could do is like maybe we have the mom, Horn Mommy.
Sure.
Actually, with the motivation of no one is taking my girls.
Yeah.
You made them. I carried them. So as a mama bear, we know her motivation is no one's taking the kids, even if Osha.
We didn't invite you here. We don't want you here.
It's like, hey, no, we're just swinging through, checking things out.
Even if my kid seems interested, you're leading them astray.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then Horn Mommy could, maybe she's the one through her own motivations, as stated, that she attacks her wife to make sure that the girls don't go, because she knows the wife was gonna, or the head lady was gonna let Osha go, and so she silences her, and then a Horn Mommy basically leads the Night Sisters to attack the Jedi.
Okay.
And so now they're
because you want it cut and dry that the Jedi are good and the Night Sisters are bad.
Yes. Yeah. Because it doesn't need to be like the whole huge, because we wasted,
because it's Star Wars.
Because it's Star Wars, and we wasted time on the mystery.
Yeah.
Because I actually pulled up how to write a mystery, because this is real quick. How to write a mystery. Basically, it's a 4-act structure. So you got to create the puzzle first. Then you introduce your sleuth. No one's trying to find out the answers in this show. Everyone already knows the answers, just telling, Osha or May eventually at the end.
Yeah.
There's no clues. You got to discover the clues, but no one's trying to discover clues. The suspects, and then, learn out more about the world. And then eventually at the end, you narrow down to the true villain. But none of that is happening in the show. It's just there's something no one's telling anybody, or telling the two girls. Mm-hmm. And then we're not telling you, we're not telling you, we're not telling you. Okay, here it is. Oh.
Yes.
But, why did we waste? You could have just told us this.
You could have just told us this. The thing, it could have been, if that May and Osha get split up when they're kids. Yeah.
And then Osha goes with May, or Osha goes with Soul and the Jedi, and then May's like thought dead. In all the craziness that happens.
Can I in this circumstance, in this like thing we're building right now, I feel like if we have a conversation, if maybe the Jedi are like they're just like, hey, like these are our girls, like you're not taking them. They're like, they respect that. They're like, no problem, not a big deal, like that's fine. They're like, but we do need to talk about this virgin situation. Mm-hmm. And then through that conversation, we find out that these girls are indeed the virgins.
Yeah.
And the Jedi are like, hey, we don't, like, there are certain aspects of the Force that we don't fundamentally understand, and they could tear at the very fabric of this galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, now we need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Now something has to happen.
Yeah.
Like, now they need to come with us. So it just raises those stakes more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also explains to us what a virgin actually is.
And you can also explain what the girls are.
Yes.
From the beginning, we learn what the girls are.
Yes.
So that when, things happen later, that we understand why things would be switching.
Can I inject a mystery?
Oh, okay.
And can I inject a mystery that
Sure.
if they wanted to structure it in such a way, and this sounds buck wild, this is just a thought I had in the shower. We all know I think a lot in the shower.
Sure.
If you wanted to have a twist in this show that would be something that was not just either Osha or May literally turning completely about face, or if you wanted to have them completely turn about face in a way that makes sense and also explain what is actually going on with them, I think you could get to a point where people are not telling who is who, either May or Osha, as they are indeed twins. I think what Soul was hiding, and the reason that he's so invested in the fact that May is back, is that he saved Osha and actually can confirm watch May die. And May, since there is some vergence in the Force going on, May is a Force projection coming from Osha.
Oh,
and the
crap.
Force is so strong with Osha that she has the ability to fully manifest her own self, but since she and May are the same person, it has manifested as May.
That's nuts.
I think
That's nuts.
That's the kind of thing where you go, oh, what? Like, yeah, that is a level of Force happening that probably is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, what's really the big deal here? We're just going to have more Sith? We've had those.
Yeah.
What's different about what's happening here? Mm-hmm. I think if one of them, because like, he's like, May is back. I watched May die. I don't know, and that's why he's kind of also still keeping Osha at arm's length a little bit, and we can get more of their backstory, because like she's like, you pushed me too hard, but there's clearly something you're hiding.
Sure.
And that he's like, yeah, I told you the truth, but the truth is that May is dead. So I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if you're lying to me or what's going on.
Yeah.
But she's just a Force ghost.
Yeah.
That's like made manifest.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I like thought in the shower and I was like, yeah. Woo!
Go me.
This could be good.
Because here's the thing. That's all episode 1. Just the Brendock stuff, the meeting these main characters, that's all episode 1. I think episode 2 is basically like modern, or present day.
Yeah.
Where Osha, I think, is still a Padawan of Soul. Mm-hmm. And the Acolyte, or if you want to keep calling it that, the thing that they're investigating is Khmer killing Jedi.
Yeah.
Because Khmer finally has, it's taken enough time to heal and learn and be a freaking badass yoked dude.
We can get more of that. No one's mad at that.
No one's mad at that.
Because the fights were great in Acolyte.
And he's out after Jedi who are close to Venestra.
Yes.
And he was around the temple long enough
because
he knows these people.
And here's his motivation. It's not about being evil. It's not about trying to live without the Jedi. He is trying to get people to realize that Venestra is up to no good.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
It's revenge on his
It's
master.
just revenge. Mm-hmm. Because as we know in the rewrite of Return of the Jedi don't get revenge, but Sith do.
Yep.
He's just trying to straight clown on his old master who threw him under the bus for something, like she does to Soul.
Yep.
Like it's just her doing the same thing all
Political
over again.
machinations to help herself because she thinks she's helping the Order by being a political animal.
And it also fits into his like kind of holistic approach to what he's doing, it seems like. He's like, she's a Jedi that's just trying to make moves when embracing the Force is just about like it's just about being and living and trying to do your best, and she's trying to turn this into a whole other thing. Although she maybe have one of the coolest lightsabers we've ever seen in all of this ever.
Yeah,
that purple whip though.
Yeah,
not enough of that. More purple whip.
Yeah.
That's her motivation. Purple whip and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
getting in there.
So what we could do then is that May's motivation is to try to get over the death of Osha's motivation is getting over the death of May and her family
because they're the same person and she's a Force ghost.
And she can't.
She thinks they both think each other is dead because one of them technically is, but they're also the same person.
Yeah, it's kind of like chasing.
Really muddy.
It's like my own worst enemy. He's chasing himself because he's got DID.
Yeah, let's just Tyler Durden.
Yeah,
our May.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So then at the end of the season,
Force Durden.
Yeah, at the end of the season, then. That because like they can get what it is. Chimera's killing Jedi to try to get to out Venestra.
Yeah,
and May keep showing up in and around Osha, and they're getting reports of like because other people can see her like, wait a second, but your sister's dead, and so like as they are chasing Chimera, May's showing up in and around Chimera because they are close to each other, and so when May finally realizes that the mystery is like, wait a second, May is actually dead.
Yeah.
And because you are a virgin, I thought because your sister was dead that it was over.
Yeah.
But apparently you are strong enough, or whatever this Force thing
whatever's happening here,
and you have to reconcile with your sister, your other half.
Because not only did they find how to create life, they found how to like have eternal life.
Ooh.
And I think you end this show with May kind of reabsorbing back into Osha.
Yeah.
And then you're not sure who's who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as we go, and if you want to have her go with Chimera. Oh, okay. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and Chimera is like, how do I know you're the one trying to be an acolyte or you're the one trying to fight against me? And she's like, I'm just me.
I'm just me.
But I'm both of those things.
And Soul doesn't die. Jackie doesn't die.
No,
none of our Carrie-Anne Moss doesn't die.
No,
like other Jedi can die for sure.
Sure,
but like
red shirted up, baby.
Yeah, but our main cast here of actual big name actors, they don't die. We continue to learn about them because they're interesting.
Yeah, I'd like more.
Yeah,
like I love the idea of. Like, I think we needed to see... they needed to go to Brendok and have it break bad, and then we needed an entire episode with the Jedi Order. We needed them to go back and, we needed some procedural. And that's another frustrating thing about the Acolyte, is that, like, hey guys, you gave us 8 episodes. You gave us basically 3 episodes worth of content.
It was the total runtime of the show was just over 4 hours.
It just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough. And it was like, you're asking us to like really invest in this when I don't feel you guys investing in this story. Like, I feel like the real fix here is that like you just take a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Like this felt rushed.
Yeah. And when Soul finally meets up with Chimera and is like, what are you? And I was like, you don't remember me, Soul?
Yeah.
I'm Venestra's Padawan. I was like, oh, you hurt or killed or whatever. I was like, yeah. And do you think I'm the bad guy here?
Yeah.
And so, like, Chimera can steal his home.
You've been covering for Venestra for so long.
Yeah. Chimera's like, I just want to be. I wanted to help, and Venestra threw me away. I'm coming. I'm not after you. I'm after her.
Yeah.
So we see
but
his
killing
motivation.
you is going to expose a lot of secrets. Yep. And so, like, maybe there's like some kind of recording or something, and like he has the dirt on Soul that could very well like sink Venestra, and that's why Venestra throwing Soul under the bus too. Like hits so hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, Venestra, like I want Venestra to win at the end of this in a way that feels bad.
Yeah. And again, now that she's the most evil thing in the world, she thinks she is doing good, but Chimera's on one side with Osha and May inside of her. Soul, and maybe we can have Soul and his group of Carrie-Anne Moss, Jackie, and Yord.
But we've got to keep the terrible beard. We've got to keep the terrible beard on the Padawan. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep that. I don't think he drinks that poison. I think he rocks that terrible beard in season 2. I think season 2 is all about that character. I can't remember his name.
Tommen?
Sure. Isn't that his name on Game of Thrones?
I don't know. Tommen? Oh, I don't know. Corbin? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But he's keeping the beard.
We have a group of people in the middle who's trying to clear their name.
This is how much I know you love Star Wars.
What?
I'm like over here aggressively trying to do bits, and you are just like, no, but Star Wars.
I feel like I've got it, man. The main cast survives, and they got to clear their name. And Vanessa's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. And Chimera's like, you actually are. And I'm going to take a lot of you down because I got to expose. Like, there's people.
Maybe Soul doesn't die. Maybe he has to go back to the Jedi Council and like is on trial.
But the show's more interesting when you have more characters around to understand their motivations, and they're trying to do things.
Yes.
Killing everybody cuts down your main characters and cuts down your story because there's less to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Motivations. Actual reason. What are we doing with this show?
Yeah.
We can just show that a certain a Jedi has become a little bit too political.
Yeah.
Great. And there are some flaws in the order, but overall they are doing good.
Yeah, you shouldn't have some of your characters die in a Jedi fight and you go, "Oh, neat kill," but what? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're dead?
Character.
I'm upset
motivation.
because I don't know enough about them to care.
Yeah.
I'm not upset because I care about the character and they died. I'm like, "Oh, that seems like a waste of time. Bummer." Huh.
Character motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your characters drive your story, not the other way around.
I think we've made it to like the final Star Wars point and for a Star Wars property that really needs to be fixed is that why does this exist? Do you know what I'm saying? In the grand scope of Star Wars, why are we telling this story? Because I think the Acolyte that we got in front of us was really trying to lean into this Plagueis stuff and lead into that, which I'm of the mindset, forgive me, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in the expanded fiction and like other side stuff going on, but just from someone who's like mostly movie guy, and read some of the books, like I read Shadows of the Empire and all the bounty hunter books, and like that's it. Like why is this storyline important to us? It's like really trying to push the Plagueis stuff, but I was of the mindset that, and this frustrates me about Star Wars, is that not everything everyone says should be canon, like specifically 1-to-1. I was always of the mindset that when Palpatine was talking about a Darth Plagueis, I never took it as truth. I took it as that he was telling a fable in order to get Anakin to come over, to like intrigue Anakin. Mm-hmm. I never was like, Darth Plagueis, who was this person? I was like, oh, what an interesting story. Like it's a fable. It may not very well be true, but it could be a tall tale in the Star Wars universe. But they're like, no, Darth Plagueis was this person, and he did this thing, and I was like, because Palpatine said it, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be a dude, and then like he also doesn't have to be lurking in a cave like a creep.
Sure.
Looking like Gollum.
Yeah.
I was like, but even what isn't what?
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. So what is the point of Acolyte? At least as we're fixing it.
Sure.
What's the point of telling this story?
I mean, it's either just a fun story with Jedi, learning how to, just doing stuff, because we've never gotten a slice of life Jedi show.
Sure.
And so this is a little bit of a mystery, with a little bit of, not barely a mystery, nice little twist there, but just of like Jedi going about the universe doing stuff.
So maybe we just ditch the entire Plagueis thing completely.
Oh yeah, it's totally gone.
Yeah,
we don't need it.
It's just like we wanted to show this time period because we think it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's enough.
This is a good show with Jedi being Jedi with a little, with...
That's just kind of not how Star Wars works, though. Like, I understand your point.
But it could be.
Okay.
And just to show how the Jedi were before the prequels.
Sure.
And just, Vanessa, there are some Jedi just like,
and also just keep Yoda around. Yoda was not the reveal that you thought it was. We all know this character has lived for basically 1,000 years. We all know that. When they were like, oh, it's Yoda. Can you believe that? Yeah, he was around. Yeah, he was 800 at that point as opposed to 900. He was still really old. It's not that weird. What? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be like, oh yeah, the Jedi. Some people are just, taking their eye off the ball a little bit and thinking too much about Coruscant and less about everybody else.
Sure.
And just, hey, Jedi are fallible, but they're all trying to do good. Isn't this kind of an interesting story?
Well, I think that's the Acolyte.
I think we did,
I
Jay.
think that's enough to just keep the comments coming,
Yeah.
That's why we do this.
Engagement.
Rage farming. Whee! Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We are actually going to be going on a little bit of a hiatus. We'll be putting out on the audio format some small Roll for Convo mini episodes we're really excited to share with you guys. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. I'm really excited about them. And then we'll be coming back in the fall with a brand new version of Fix It we're excited to share with you guys.
Everything we said last week, just put it here this week.
Yes, indeed. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate fixing it. If you're listening to this on the audio format, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. Nope, that's the YouTube half. YouTube, you do that part. The other part, you leave 5 stars and you leave us a review right now. You do it. You do it or we'll find you. Yep, that's a threat. Anyways. It's hot
Oh
here.
my God, yes.
I know. All right, everybody. As we end every single one of these episodes, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the silent second Shoto lightsaber that I keep inside my actual hilt that you never see coming. Sorry, Jackie. You were the one I hated dying the most.
We'll see you guys next week. Or we won't. Or maybe we will. Who's to say?
See you soon.
Bye.